Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and before we get into the latest going on around Josh Jacobs and his current situation and the prediction that an NFL insider had, today's show is presented by HexClad. 10% off when you use promo code CHAT, and all you got to do is go to hexclad.com/chat. If you don't know what HexClad is, they are awesome kitchenware. You can really elevate the game for you, for your loved ones, and hey, if you're really trying to, get somebody to cook a little bit more for you, maybe they'll cook better in a HexClad. So coming up here on today's Raiders Report show, my reaction to the current Josh Jacobs situation, and then you got a prediction from ESPN insider and an NFL agent. So you're going to have an NFL agent's inside opinion, you're going to have an insider from ESPN's opinion, and then I will give my opinion on both of those ideas of what they think is going to end up happening to the Raiders star running back. And I'm just going to say this plain and simple. I don't want you to jinx it. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. If you don't subscribe to the Raiders Report right now, the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl this season. Don't take the chance. I can't afford it. I'm already starting to get a few gray hairs. I found one or two the other day, and I'm worried if you don't hit that sub button, we're going to get a lot more grays here. I can't afford it, and I know you guys can't either. FKC's down in the chat. So this is what Dan Graziano had to say on running backs that have been given the franchise tag, and he's the guy from ESPN that I really want to look at here on today's show. I expect the Raiders to re-engage with Jacobs and the Giants to re-engage with Barkley prior to the July 17th deadline. The Cowboys likely will check in with Pollard's representatives, but I don't think that I would anticipate any real progress toward a deal there. Again, his situation is different. So anytime that you think about the latest going on around Josh Jacobs, anytime you think about the latest going on with any player, if there are other players at that position that are in a similar boat, the NFL is a big-time copycat league. So what I've been waiting for is for the Giants and Saquon to get a deal done. However, if the Raiders do plan on getting a contract extension done, I do think it's smart for them to make sure that they get that deal done before the Giants, if they do, get it done with Barkley. Let's continue to roll here with Dan Graziano on the whole Jacobs and Barkley situation. Of the two, I'd rate Barkley the more likely to get a long-term deal done. Team owner John Mara has been clear about his desire for Barkley to be a Giant for his entire career, and the front office knows ownership would like a deal to get done. My very hesitant prediction is that the two sides come together on a contract that looks something like our outline option one before the deadline passes. Don't worry, for those that are watching, I'm about to show you what Graziano's option one is. The Giants probably will give a little bit on guarantees to a point where Barkley and his agent can claim a win on something specific, such as structure or cash flow. So Graziano essentially lays out this contract idea for Saquon Barkley. And for a lot of y'all that are watching this show, you should know that this looks pretty damn close to what I have been saying I would be willing to give Josh Jacobs. What I've been saying I'd be willing to give Jacobs is 3 years, $38.4 million. Graziano is saying that this is what he would give Barkley. Now, the guarantees are a little bit more, and I like the idea of why the guarantees are more in terms of $25.5 million, and the reason is right now Jacobs can play on the franchise tag. That's a guaranteed $10.1 million. If the Raiders or Giants were to franchise tag these guys again, then it goes up 120%, so you're looking at about $12 million or so, which is still more in terms of guarantees than the $25.5 million. The big-time question, though, that continues to need to be asked is who's more likely to get extended? Is it the Raiders and Josh Jacobs? If that's the route that you think that that's going to happen, I want you to type JJ. If you're like, no, the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley, they're going to get an extension done before the Raiders and Jacobs do. Who's more likely to get the deal done? Is it Jacobs? Is it Barkley? If you want to know my opinion, well, I actually put out a video on this, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, and it outlines a ton. It has so much information on Giants insiders. It's got a lot of information on Jacobs. It's got my 2 cents on it. If you want more news, more rumors, more analysis, even though it's the month of July, I don't take any days off here. I got that commitment to excellence, and if you do too, go check out that video. It's going to be available for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show. So coming up here, you're going to see Dan Graziano's prediction on what the Silver and Black decide to do with Jacobs. He has already outlined the fact that he believes that the Giants are the more likely team to get a long-term deal done with Barkley. Does that mean that the Raiders won't get a deal done with Jacobs? That answer coming up here in just a sec. But again, ladies, fellas, if you're trying to elevate your kitchen game, it's time to listen up right now. Huge shout out to today's sponsor, HexClad, and if you use promo code CHAT, you're going to be able to save 10% off. So today's sponsor, HexClad, has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of non-stick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Use promo code CHAT at hexclad.com/chat for 10% off. HexClad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. Don't just take my word for it. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay uses them at home too. And I know this. I know a lot of people who like to go to Vegas games, and I have been told that I need to go to this man's restaurant, and I would love to. But guess what? If he's using HexClad, maybe you should too. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible, with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using HexClad at home. They're also the sexiest pans on the market. Score points at home. It's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with HexClad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave. It's cooked in a HexClad. For a limited time, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chat. That's 10% off at HEXCLAD.com/chat with code chat. Now, personally for me, if I'm going to call a pan sexy, I got to show you what it looks like. And even though Gordon Ramsay didn't say this, I believe he thinks if you don't cook with a HexClad, you are an idiot sandwich. Don't be an idiot sandwich. Go to hexclad.com/chat and get started with our awesome sponsor to elevate your cooking game. All right, let's look at here what Dan Graziano had to say on the whole Jacobs situation. I haven't heard as much on the Jacobs situation, which could indicate that he's less likely to get his deal. Obviously, a lot can change, and if one of these guys signs before the deadline, he'll establish a framework the other one can use. Barkley getting a deal could make it more likely that Jacobs gets one too, but McDaniels has engaged in a lot of roster turnover since he got to Vegas, indicating that he didn't love what was in place before he got there. I would not be at all surprised to see the Raiders go with option 3 on Jacobs and do nothing. For those of you that did not read the Graziano article, because it is ESPN Plus, I show you here what the 4 options were for Graziano in terms of what Tony Pollard, what Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley could potentially do. Option 1 is you offer them a fair market deal. The fair market deal was essentially what you saw earlier in the video, the 3 years, $38 million. It puts you in that area where you're not the highest paid running back, but you are right above some of the other names like a Derrick Henry and where Dalvin Cook used to be. Option 2 is you get a 2-year solution, which 2-year solution is more of franchise tag for 1 year, you do another franchise tag for another year. Number 3 is you do nothing. Do nothing is, hey, you're not getting a contract extension. You're just going to play on the franchise tag. Option 4 is you say, F it, if you're going to be bitching and moaning about making $10.1 million, we're just going to rescind the tag, and I'm just going to go out and get somebody cheaper. Maybe I sign a Dalvin Cook. Maybe I sign an Ezekiel Elliott. Maybe I go out and sign a Leonard Fournette. There are other talented free agent running backs out there, which I do think hurts Barkley and Jacobs for their ability to ask for that big-time payday. So the Raiders, they want Jacobs to play on the tag. It's not a secret. The Raiders have, soon as they offered him that franchise tag, that's the plan. And from what I understand, they 100 fully expect him to sign that tag. And if he doesn't, that's where we're going to have a little bit of an issue, because the other reason why this is interesting, if they tag him again next season, this is where some of the guarantees of, if I'm Jacobs and I'm his agent, I'm going to ask for $23 million of guaranteed money. And the reason is because this is the exact reason here. We'll lay it out a little bit easier for you to read. The collective bargaining agreement requires that a second franchise tag to be 120% of the previous year's salary. So tagging Jacobs or Barkley or Pollard again next year would cost $12.1 million. That means you'd be paying them each $22.2 million total over the next 2 years. So when you look at some of my past videos that I have out there around Jacobs, the number that I will continue to throw out there for guaranteed money is $22 million. And the reason why that I do $22 million guaranteed is because of that reason that they laid out there, but on top of I'm more willing to backload some of that type of money. And when you're a running back, when you're looking for these deals, you have to be able to keep that in the back of your mind. Like, would it surprise me if the Raiders decided to franchise tag Jacobs yet again? If he has another year like he did? No, it really truly wouldn't. But this team does not typically pay running backs. And the way the NFL is going, the NFL is not going to be paying running backs really because the longevity of their career, it really, really slows down. So coming up here on the show, we're going to get into some more Jacobs news here. And this one is around an NFL agent, because not only are we getting an NFL insider's opinion, which I always think is interesting, but then you got to look at an NFL agent, because the agent's going to be the one at the end of the day negotiating the deal for Jacobs. And could he potentially miss training camp? Like, this agent is straight up saying that, yes, it could potentially happen. So veterans, they report July 25th. Jacobs, as we know, has been very public with how he is unhappy, how he believes that the Raiders are doing bad business right now with this current contract situation. And there are multiple rumors out there, multiple notable sources out there, like guys like Tom Pelissero, that say, yes, it is a very realistic option that if the Raiders and Jacobs don't come to an agreement by July 17th on that extension, that he could hold out, because he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag. Why? Because he knows that his one chance here to get a big-time deal is probably coming off the year that he just had 2,000 total yards, because I know Raider fans don't want to hear this, but I don't think Jacobs ever has over 2,000 total yards again. That's a hell of a season. So this is what the NFL agent had to say on the whole Jacobs situation. It wouldn't be a surprise for Jacobs to miss the start of Raiders training camp on July 25th if he doesn't get a long-term deal by the deadline. Jacobs has yet to sign his franchise tender. Some unsigned franchise players have missed part or most of training camp and the preseason, partially to protest not getting a long-term deal and try to minimize the risk of a serious injury. As an unsigned franchise player, Jacobs couldn't be fined $50,000 for each day of training camp he missed. His attendance wouldn't be required because of the absence of a signed contract. He wouldn't be withholding services he is contractually obligated to perform. Typically, when a player has a contract year performance like Jacobs, financially capitalizing on the success is usually a given at most other positions. If Jacobs wasn't a running back, he would have a legitimate chance at replacing McCaffrey as the highest paid at the position because of his 2022 production. If you don't know how much money Christian McCaffrey makes on a per-year basis, it's $16.02 million. The issue with looking at that is McCaffrey's not paid as a running back. He is paid as a overall offensive weapon, and the NFL is proving to everyone right now that if you can catch the football, if you do most of your work through the air, which is also easier on your body, then there's a better chance for you to get more money. And that's why McCaffrey makes the money that he does. That's why Alvin Kamara is making the money that he does, because those guys do their most damage through the air, where a lot of these other running backs, I'm sorry, they don't do nearly as well. And something else that could really make this whole Jacobs and Barkley situation interesting, I've been told by a good source that the Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to ask Joe Mixon to do a contract restructure. And then it's yet another running back asking to restructure. So in conclusion from this video, both Dan Graziano and the NFL agent that was interviewed, they do not expect Jacobs to get that extension. And it's a multitude of reasons of the NFL market. It's a multitude of reasons of knowing your current regime of McDaniels and Ziegler. But if you got both of those guys saying no, it's not going to happen, my question to you is this: will the Raiders give Josh Jacobs a contract extension? It's a yes or a no. I have been sitting up here and I've been waiting. And I really still have... To me, it's a coin flip between two options, right? So you can type yes, you can type no. I was a lot more confident a few weeks ago that the Raiders would end up getting a deal done with Jacobs. But what I'm worried about, if that's the route that they're going to go, and if they're waiting for the Giants to make the first move, The Giants are going to take this thing all the way up to the deadline. So in terms of, let's say, the 4 options that are on the table right now for Jacobs, I think that there is a 48% chance that he ends up getting a contract extension. If they do it, they're going to backload the deal, and they are going to give him some guarantees over $22 million. He could, 46% chance, just ends up signing the franchise tag where they're like, hey, man, you're not going to get that deal. Jacobs can be a little upset. Maybe he sits out training camp, but then he ends up signing the tag before week 1. Could Jacobs get traded? That's a possibility. It's a 4%. And then the holdout, he technically can hold out until week 8. And the last time that the NFL saw that was with Le'Veon Bell. And the only reason why it's not a smart idea for running backs is because the running back market is a lot like real life, right? There is demand, and if there's not a high demand, supply and demand, if there's not a high demand, then you're not really going to have all that much of supply. So it's a tough situation. If he doesn't play on the franchise tag, he doesn't get paid. He wants to get paid. So the holdout, I don't really think ends up happening. I do think that they get a contract extension or he ends up playing on the franchise tag. I am confident, though, that Jacobs is playing with the Las Vegas Raiders this upcoming season. If I'm wrong on that, well then, hey, we'll try to do our best to keep you guys up to date. As always, if you're looking for more news, more rumors, more updates around the Las Vegas Raiders, you can always hit me up on Twitter. You can always hit me up on Instagram as well. I am at Mitchell Renz 365.